De Aragua has been busy lately. They've been busy lately. You got a Tren De Aragua member popping up in Florida, getting arrested at a mall. You got the Tren De Aragua members who were infamous for the video in Colorado, taking over or, inhabiting an apartment complex, terrorizing it, getting arrested somehow in New York. All right, we're going to get into these stories and check this out. Here's the first one about the individual who was arrested at a mall in Florida.
Tonight, Sweetwater police say that a possible member of a violent Venezuelan gang is behind bars after an incident at Dolphin Mall. The arrest happened on Friday.
Yeah, NBC6's Amy Viteri shows us how officers identified the man as a possible member of the violent gang Tren De Aragua.
That 20-year-old man is in jail here Monday evening, and police tell us he will stay here. That's not just because of the charges he's currently facing, but also due to an immigration hold. And investigators tell us it was the man's tattoos that helped them identify him as a possible member of that gang.
Abraham de Jesus Mavo Bracho appeared before a judge over the weekend.
Count 2 is battery on a police officer.
Accused of stealing and pushing a police officer before being taken into custody Friday evening at Dolphin Mall after another man...
Isn't it interesting how a lot of these people are able to be violent towards the police and put their hands on police officers and harm police officers, yet somehow they still make it to court? But the people who tend to be going the opposite direction or running away unarmed tend to end up in a casket. Does anybody notice that?
Reported he and 2 others were trying to beat him up.
He fled on foot from the officers. One of them tried to detain him. He pushed them.
Police say once in custody, they found Mavo Bracho with 2 bags of Nike merchandise without a receipt, valued at over $1,100. But officers also noticed the 20-year-old's body art.
It was a tattoo that caught their attention.
They say these images from his arm, specifically this one depicting a clock with a rose, are associated with the Venezuelan street gang Tren De Aragua, or TDA for short.
Once he saw that and he saw that there was an identifier, he asked them, and he of course claimed that he is not affiliated with it, that he just likes the tattoo, and that's why he has it on.
But police say federal immigration and customs enforcement agents also wanted to speak to Mavo Bracho.
We learned from them that people don't get these tattoos just because they look nice, because nobody wants to be affiliated with them.
So what's interesting about this is that they were able to get this information from the feds. And mind you, in a lot of these quote unquote sanctuary cities, the idea is for them to not cooperate with the feds. So you got to ask yourself the question, are they wanting to not cooperate with the immigration laws in order to help hide and harbor a lot of these Tren De Aragua gang members? It doesn't make any sense.
Police say agents told them he was supposed to be in Chicago, but had removed an ankle monitor issued by U.S. Customs and Immigration Enforcement when he entered the country. As of last month, the Department of Homeland Security had identified more than 600 migrants in the U.S. with ties to the Tren De Aragua gang, according to data obtained exclusively by NBC News. Local law enforcement says information shared by federal authorities, like details of tattoos, helps them do their job.
One of our priority service units was able to see that, catch that, contact the federal authorities, come in, put a nice detainer on them, and look, now we found somebody that was a fugitive.
Now, again, mind you, everything that this individual just said, cooperating with the feds allows them to do. This is exactly what the Democrats are against. This is what the sanctuary city mayors, Mike Johnston, sanctuary state governors, J.B. Pritzker and Jared Polis, Kathy Hochul, this is what these people are against. I don't understand why anybody would be against this. Let me ask you guys this question. Anybody that's watching this video in the live premiere or in the comment section, replay gang afterwards, are you against this? Let me know.
He's facing several charges, including grand theft and battery on a law enforcement officer, and he's also being held in connection with his immigration case. In Northwest Miami-Dade, Amy Viteri, NBC6 News.
Now, if you guys know, Northwest Miami, NBC Dade, or Northwest Miami, Florida Dade, right? That's one of the places that flipped red for Trump, if I'm not mistaken, in this most recent election. All right. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at 2 pieces of information, one from News Nation and the other from New York Post. And we're going to try to figure out how these guys who were terrorizing this apartment complex in Colorado found themselves in New York City. Let's go.
And we begin this hour with the arrest of 2 members of a violent Venezuelan gang tied to that now viral raid of a Colorado apartment complex. News Nation confirming that the 2 men were taken into custody this week in New York City. News Nation's Rich McHugh is live for us following all of this. And Rich, authorities also found several weapons. So what charges are these 2 men facing so far?
Hi, Nicole. So it's all unclear. This is happening real time. The indictments remain sealed. The mugshots are sealed. So this is what we're learning right now, that from federal authority or local and federal authorities were involved in this raid that happened on Tuesday night in New York City. At least 2 members of the infamous Venezuelan gang Tren De Aragua were arrested. They were part of this video that we're showing on the screen, which later ended in a shooting. But they were arrested Tuesday night in a raid in New York City. Law enforcement sources confirmed to us. It was led by a New York Police Department gang task force and in coordination with federal Homeland Security. Law enforcement sources confirmed that to News Nation. Among those arrested were Daniel Aramillo Meneses and Edelson Yoel Pena Anguillo. Those 2 were alleged to be involved in a fatal shooting in Aurora, Colorado in August. An arrest warrant was issued on October 1st. It's unclear how or when they came to New York City. Law enforcement confirms to News Nation that the 2 are not in NYPD custody, but are in federal custody. Their mugshots and their indictments remain under seal. Sources tell News Nation that there's a lot going on with this case, and authorities are very tight-lipped with it because they don't want to hinder progress on any future arrests. Nicole?
All right, I know you are still following this closely for us. Rich McHugh in New York City, thank you.
So there's that, right? Very, very interesting. And again, just like what we saw in Florida, you know, they were able to get information and insights from having the feds have access to dealing with this case instead of blocking it. And again, these are not children. These are not families. These are not, you know, people that are quote unquote living everyday normal lives. I guess, you know, I wouldn't consider, you know, being a hardcore hardened gang member an everyday normal life. But these are not the people who the mainstream media is saying will be harmed under these quote unquote mass deportations. These are the very people that the mass deportations are said to target, the criminal element. So why anybody would have an issue with cooperating this is counterintuitive. It's beyond me. It doesn't make any sense. All right. So next, what we have here is this article from New York Post. All right. And this article from New York Post, it goes into a little bit more detail in regards to this situation with these Tren De Aragua members from Colorado who terrorized the apartment buildings. So as soon as I can get the page to actually cooperate, we will get into it. All right. Tren De Aragua gangbangers tied to, here we go, tied to wild Colorado apartment takeover, arrested in major New York City drug and gun bust, according to sources. Okay, so let's see what they say here. If we can, again, get this to work. This is ridiculous. This is supposed to be a good quality website. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, a pair of Tren De Aragua gangbangers tied to a wild Aurora, Colorado apartment invasion were arrested in a major New York City drug trafficking and credit card scam bust on Wednesday that also netted an arsenal of deadly assault rifles, the Post has learned. So they were trying to get geared up. Okay. They were trying to get geared up. And again, I can't even get this website to work. Hold on real quick. Daniel Aramillo Meneses, who was 23, and Edison Pena Anguillo, who was 25, were picked up during an early morning raid in the Bronx by a gang task force led by NYPD and U.S. Homeland Security investigations, according to law enforcement sources. In total, 15 suspected members of the Venezuelan migrant gang were nabbed following a months-long investigation into narcotics trafficking and gang violence, the sources said. Okay. Enough already with these guys. One law enforcement source told the Post, TDA's time is up. Meneses and Anguillo were reportedly part of a gun-toting group of bandits who stormed an Aurora apartment in August in a viral caught-on-camera burglary that made national headlines, sources added. Okay. Local police issued warrants for Meneses and Anguillo on October 1st, according to News 9 in Denver. But they somehow made their way to New York City, where cops collared them at about 3:30 a.m. on Wednesday. And it's interesting how everything always goes down at, 3:30, either a.m. or p.m. Just peep game on that. The dragnet was a result of a 6-month investigation into violent gang crimes that quickly led to the drug ring, which sources say ran from the Bronx to Lower Manhattan. The group was selling a variety of drugs, including heroin, fake weed, the synthetic drug Tussie, and also dabbled in credit card fraud and violence, sources said. Cops also found a cache of semi-automatic weapons during the raid, including 3 assault rifles, 2 pistols, and ammo cans packed with cartridges, sources said. It's unclear what charges the Tren De Aragua suspects face because their federal indictment and the offenses remain sealed. Cops also found a cache of semi-automatic weapons during the raid, including 3 assault rifles, 2 pistols, and ammo cans packed with cartridges, the sources said. It's unclear what charges the Tren De Aragua suspects face because their federal indictment and the offenses remain sealed. Sorry about that. I think I read that twice, but this website is so difficult to navigate. In the Aurora case, both Menendez and Angelo have been charged with first-degree burglary, menacing with a firearm, according to ABC affiliate Denver 7. Local cops say they and 4 other armed men were caught on camera at the Edge at Lowry apartment complex on August 18th, just minutes before another man, 25-year-old Oswaldo Jose de Boyan Aru, was fatally shot, the outlet said. 5 of the men carried handguns, while 1 brought a rifle as they knocked on 2 apartment doors, busted in, and threatened people inside, according to the cops. The shocking video emerged after the Post identified Venezuelan prison gang shot caller Joharndi Jose Pacheco Chirino, who had taken part in an assault, then a shooting at another overrun apartment complex in the Denver suburb. The building was recently shut down. The building was recently shut down over code violations, which the owner said they couldn't fix because the gang had taken over the complex, according to the court documents obtained by the Post. They were first hanging out around the property and creating bad elements that's constantly there, an apartment investor said. And then they started taking over quite a few months ago. They started taking over vacant units. Aurora, about a city of 390,000 just east of Denver, has seen an influx of both migrants and members of the prison gang over the last few years. Some left terrified, others were forced to move. All right. It's been a nightmare and I can't get out of here, Cindy Romer told KDVR this summer as she moved out of the building with her husband, Edward. Every day when we come back home, we have to do this every time we go outside to take out the garbage, Cindy said, turning each lock. Every time we go to bed, we have to keep it like this so nobody can kick in the door. Yeah, I mean, that's just insane. You know what I'm saying? And what's even more insane is that you have, the media covering these stories up and not wanting to deal with this. I mean, this is just bizarre. Again, if you pay very close attention to what Tom Homan has been saying, if you pay very close attention to what's been going on as far as what they've been saying about the quote unquote mass deportations and all of that, it's these kind of people who would be the first to be targeted. You know what I'm saying? So why anybody would have an issue with this is beyond me. It doesn't make any sense. All right. It makes absolutely no sense. So next, what we're going to do, I was going to end the video here, but I saw this and I figured we may as well just check this out too, because this is pretty recent. Here goes some more Tren De Aragua stuff. November 27th. All right. Tren De Aragua gangbanger and illegal. Now, we've been talking about what's been going on in Tennessee, right? On the channel that's called Undocumented. If you're not subscribed to Undocumented, if there's moderators in here, if they could drop the link for the Undocumented channel, that would be great. Make sure you go over there and subscribe. And we also have content on this channel in the Undocumented Bros playlist that highlights this as well. We're going to take a listen to this news clip, and then we're going to get into this article. And if you haven't smashed the like button yet, please take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, if you enjoy content like this, hit that bell, and please share this stream to your social media.
So, Tennessee law enforcement warning that the violent Venezuelan gang Tren De Aragua is now operating in every major city in the state. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Director David Roush has been warning local leaders about the growing threat and joins us now. Sir, thanks so much for joining the program.
Thank you, Lawrence.
So what's the big issue as it relates to your law enforcement capabilities? Is the current federal, detainers and all that preventing you from doing your job? Give us the scope.
No, I don't think it's any of that. I think what we have is, unfortunately, because of the porous border, this gang has exploited it, and they are actively working throughout our country. And we know, because of our investigations, they are actively working in Tennessee. They are in our 4 major cities, Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, and Chattanooga, and they are running human trafficking operations right now. We first noticed them about 2 years ago during a trafficking operation in Middle Tennessee. And we thought after we had captured a few of them, we knew some of them.
Now, again, they came in contact with Tren De Aragua 2 years ago, right? They came in contact with Tren De Aragua 2 years ago. Where was anybody talking about Tren De Aragua 2 years ago? If you guys know any places where Tren De Aragua was being discussed 2 years ago, let me know. I'll tell you one place where it was being discussed. Here, my other channel, and on Undocumented, all right? But where was anybody else discussing Tren De Aragua? The only place where people were discussing Tren De Aragua is when they were saying that this Tren De Aragua issue is being overblown and politicized. Well, now all of that is over, and we still have a lot of issues going on in places that didn't even really make a big deal out of it, like Tennessee.
Some of them had fled. We thought that they would move out of Tennessee, but they have moved back. And we are aware now, after some meetings this past month, we're aware that they are moving into different operations. They go from human trafficking to organized retail crime theft. And then they move into the drug trade, taking on the cartels in a very violent, bloody battles that they've had. And they also have zero respect for policing. They have attacked law enforcement officers throughout our nation.
So you got to ask yourself the question, why is it that the Democrats want to protect these people? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And again, I'm going to keep asking that question. That question might seem repetitive, but it's a question that needs to be answered. And the reason why the question is being repetitively asked is because it's not being answered. Why do the Democrats want to protect people like this? It doesn't make any sense. A violent Tren De Aragua gangbanger and illegal migrant was busted in Tennessee and charged with running a sex trafficking ring out of a hotel after he allegedly went on a multi-state crime spree, including in New York, but was repeatedly cut loose. See this? Was repeatedly cut loose by local and federal authorities. Why are local and federal authorities repeatedly cutting people like this loose? Aldelvis Rodriguez Carmona, who is 30, was arrested in Hamilton County last week in a joint sting by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, the Chattanooga Police Department, and Homeland Security. Rodriguez Carmona, who TBI identified as a known member of the vicious Venezuelan gang, was cuffed and after cops raided an alleged prostitution ring operating out of a Chattanooga hotel. He was charged with patronizing prostitution and possession of marijuana, Xanax, crack cocaine, and a weapon, according to authorities. It has now emerged that Rodriguez Carmona had been arrested in 2 other states after he illegally crossed the southern border in July 2022, according to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So, I mean, again, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people are traveling to different states faster than I'm able to get, you know what I'm saying, some travel popping off. It's wild. It doesn't make any sense. The Venezuelan migrant crossed the border illegally, all right, near Eagles Pass, Texas, and was quickly released by border agents, ICE said. So why? Why did they do that? A year later, in July of 2023, a judge issued an order for his deportation after he failed to appear in court. However, by then, Rodriguez Carmona had already started racking up arrests. And this is one of the reasons why they keep talking about those statistics. And this is what I'm saying about how, they can bring up these statistics as much as they want, as long as we discuss why there's the lack of statistics. There's a lack of statistics because there's barriers to being able to collect these statistics, like stuff like this, them not being able to end up making it to court and being prosecuted. In February of 2023, the illegal migrant was nabbed in New York City for allegedly shoplifting from a JCPenney's department store in Queens. He was released with instructions to appear in court 3 weeks later, sources told the Post, but he failed to show up for his scheduled court date and a warrant was issued for his arrest. A year later, in February of 2024, Rodriguez Carmona was arrested in Chicago for his alleged involvement in a drive-by shooting in Chicago's Little Italy neighborhood, which left a 27-year-old woman in critical condition, according to local reports. All right. And now, again, this is in February. He was charged with aggravated unlawful use of a weapon, not possessing a firearm identification card, driving without a license or insurance, all these based on documents, and possession of adult use cannabis in a motor vehicle, but later released, according to reports. It is unclear why he was released. So I'm going to ask you guys, why do you all think that he was released? Why do you all think that he was released? It doesn't make any sense, but whatever, right? A month later, in March of 2024, ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations Unit in Chicago arrested Rodriguez Carmona and placed him in the Dodge County Detention Facility in Juneau, Wisconsin, pending immigration removal proceedings. This Venezuelan non-citizen represented a significant threat to the residents of our community, said ERO Chicago Assistant Field Office Director Raymond Hernandez at the time. Not only is he a validated member of a transnational street gang, but he also displayed a willingness to unlawfully discharge a firearm in public. ERO Chicago will continue to prioritize public safety by removing such threats from our street. Now, let me ask you guys this question. How much assistance versus how much resistance do you think that Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor J.B. Pritzker had in relation to this collar? Let me know. The illegal migrant and accused criminal, however, was released again by ICE in Wisconsin before he then traveled to Tennessee. How do these people travel so fast? Homeland Security Investigations Nashville Public Affairs Officer Mike Mayers told the Post that the case is part of an active and ongoing investigation. He didn't clarify when or why ICE released Rodriguez Carmona. TBI Director David Rausch expressed concern with Tren De Aragua's transient tactics that allow them to move about the country until they settle somewhere where they feel comfortable. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I want the Tren De Aragua travel plan. If you guys want the Tren De Aragua travel plan, make sure you guys let me know. Maybe we can type in code undocumented and get 50% off, but you can type in code BLR on Patreon and get 50% off. If they get into an area where they feel like they are able to operate without impunity, then they will start to dig their heels in, as we have seen in some of the other communities, he said. According to TBI, Rodriguez Carmona remains in the Hamilton County Jail on a $125,000 bond, which, if you ask me, that's pretty cheap. Tren De Aragua has already set up operations in at least 16 states, 8 of which have sex trafficking rings tied to the prison gang, the Post previously reported. All right, and we've reported on that as well. Make sure you guys check out some of the older videos on the channel. Also, make sure you check out the channel that's called The Undocumented Bros, and check out the channel called Undocumented. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure you leave lots of comments. Make sure you leave lots of likes. Make sure you hit the bell lots of times. And I will catch you all on the next video. All right. Peace.